Esau's Forgotten Wife, a miraculous tale of divine transformation that shook Rebekah's heart. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, the Lord's word came to his people in the land of Canaan, flowing through the hearts of the faithful and echoing powerfully in their lives. Among them stood Esau, the rugged son born to Isaac and Rebekah, steeped in the weight of family lineage and divine promise. As the sun cast long shadows over the rolling hills, Esau chose to marry Judith, a Canaanite woman, inadvertently igniting a storm of distress within the heart of his mother, Rebekah. Her heart trembled, for she recalled the covenant spoken to Abraham, the promises of prosperity and descendants numerous as the stars in the sky. Will this union threaten our birthright? She pondered, the icy fingers of fear gripping her soul. Day after day, she heard whispered discontent echoing through their tent, the very spirit of her lineage seemingly under siege. Judith, adorned not in the robust faith of a covenant people but with the heavy drapes of a foreign culture, moved among the shadows of Esau's family, a stranger yearning for acceptance. The murmurs of Isaac and Rebekah cut through her spirit. Were they not meant to embrace her? Frustration and sorrow enveloped her heart as she lay awake in the night, yearning for a friend, a connection to the banquet of promise woven through her husband's ancestry. One fateful day, she stepped outside her tent, her heart laden with despair, the mountains standing guard like stalwart sentinels over the land. It was here, amidst the rugged landscapes where the echoes of her solitude lingered like whispers, that a divine presence enveloped her. A shimmering light, radiant and warm, descended upon her, the breath of the Almighty filling the air. Suddenly, the weight of the world lifted as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob reached down to her. Judith, he spoke, leave behind your past, I invite you into a renewed promise. Trembling, she fell to her knees, her heart ablaze with a desire to know this God who moved through the winds of her husband's history. A flicker of hope ignited within her. Could faith replace her isolation? Meanwhile, Esau stood conflicted, torn between love for Judith and the haunting call of family heritage embedded deep within him. Compelled by hope, he set forth on a journey laden with uncertainty, seeking reconciliation with his brother Jacob. Unbeknownst to them both, it seemed the hand of Providence was writing a new chapter in their family's saga, one where love might bridge chasms of estrangement. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As Judith delved deeper into understanding the God who had captivated her heart, she uncovered a tapestry of faith woven through generations, a sacred lineage of trust amidst turmoil. Rebekah, upon witnessing her daughter-in-law's heart changing, felt her own fears loosening their grip. Could it be, she whispered to herself, that even in Judith, an outsider, the divine covenant can flourish and bless our family? As the distance between Esau and Jacob closed further, the winds of destiny shifted, carrying whispers of hope through the valleys. A meeting awaited them, a collision of two worlds that held the potential to redefine their family narrative forever. What fate awaited in this sacred encounter remained cloaked in divine mystery, leaving all hearts bated in anticipation of God's extraordinary plan unfolding. As Esau journeyed towards the land of his birthright, a tumult of emotions raged within him, an uneasy blend of hope and trepidation. With each step taken, he remembered the bond of brotherhood that had frayed, the years of silence thick between him and Jacob. With hurtful words exchanged and destinies altered, he felt the weight of the past heavy upon his shoulders. Yet, even as he trudged along the weathered paths towards reconciliation, the Lord's still small voice whispered through the rustling leaves, "Fear not, Esau. The path laid before you is guided by my hand." The rugged landscape seemed to beckon him onward, affirming that the old wounds might find healing and that he could embrace his brother once more. Meanwhile, Jacob sat alone beneath a sprawling oak, grappling with the choices that had led him to this cautious moment. The air was thick with tension as he reflected on the inheritance lost in a moment of deception, the birthright bartered away for a single meal. As twilight descended, he felt the heaviness of regret mingling with divine purpose, as if the heavens themselves were pulling him towards a destiny unfulfilled. Will he accept me? Jacob fretted, the weight of fear hanging like a shroud over his spirit. Yet amidst his worry, a stirring began to rise within him, born of memory. There, in his mind's eye, the dreams danced of angels ascending and descending, a promise echoing through valleys long forgotten. The Lord had spoken unto him that night, granting him a future knotted in divine promise. Was it not now time to claim it? As the stars twinkled above like diamonds scattered across velvet, the brothers were miles apart but drawn inexorably toward their fateful reunion. The dawn broke with vibrant colors upon the horizon, illuminating the path of forgiveness that lay ahead. In his heart, Esau felt his anxieties begin to fade in the light of a new day. This is the day of healing, he whispered to himself, convicted of the need to embrace his brother with love rather than resentment. Judith, still clinging tightly to the words spoken by the Almighty, sensed the sacred transformation beginning to ripple through the tent she now called home. Lord, she prayed fervently, let me be a bridge of grace for this family. Help me to show love that surpasses understanding. As her heart aligned with God's purpose, her desire to support Esau in this daunting meeting grew stronger. The day had come, and the moment approached like the crescendo of a mighty symphony, resonating through the depths of their very souls. As the sun began its ascent, illuminating the journey that lay ahead, two brothers prepared to meet at the intersection of repentance and restoration. The divine plan was unfolding, yet veiled in the sacred mystery of God's infinite wisdom. What lay ahead was more than a mere encounter, it was the beginning of a new legacy grounded in faith, forgiveness, and divine love. Like the irrevocable bond forged through tears and laughter in ages past, the journey of Esau and Jacob would once again capture the heart of God's redemptive story. But little did they know, their meeting would echo through generations, a testament to the power of reconciliation and a reminder that even the darkest of paths can lead to divine light. The stage was set for a miraculous encounter, and the heavens awaited the unfolding of God's sovereign plan, one that would ultimately change the course of their lineage forever. With the dawn's light spilling across the rugged hills, Esau made his way with purposeful strides, his heart a brewing pot of anticipation and dread. Each footfall carried him deeper into the tapestry of brotherhood, the threads of which had been pulled tight by anger and prolonged absence. As he drew nearer the land of his kin, he felt the stirring of a familiar ache, a longing for restoration, yet tainted by the bitter taste of past betrayals. Lord, he breathed, seeking strength in the promise of his presence, guide my heart in this moment. Suddenly, a figure materialized before him, cloaked in simplicity yet vibrating with a heavenly presence. It was Judith, his beloved, who had sensed his inner turmoil even from afar. Esau, my husband, she spoke, her voice a soothing balm. The Lord has guided my spirit to you. Remember, He is with us in our darkest hours, and His grace can soften even the hardest of hearts. It was Judith's unwavering faith that sparked an ember of hope within him, one ignited by the testimony of their worship together in days past. As they continued to walk together, Esau shared the turmoil he felt. What if Jacob cannot forgive me? What if the wounds I inflicted upon him remain unhealed? Each question slipped like stones into his soul, heavy and unyielding. Judith, bolstered by the promise of God, answered firmly, "The Lord is a God of reconciliation. Seek Him in this hour, and trust that He shall work through your love. Your brother bears wounds, yes, but God has prepared a way for you both." Meanwhile, Jacob, pacing beneath the oak's shadow, felt the weight of concern pull him down into despair. Anxiety clawed at his heart. What if Esau came bearing resentment, with anger kindled anew? The gusts of wind swayed the branches above, as though heaven itself conspired to comfort him. "Pray," he whispered to the Almighty, "and show me favor upon this encounter." With each whisper, the promise of God's presence enveloped him, igniting courage to face the depth of his own fear. "Perhaps it is time for me to yield the burdens I have carried." As the sun ascended, illuminating the vast landscape, both brothers neared the appointed meeting place. The plain stretched wide before them, the air thick with unspoken apologies and longing. Suddenly, Esau caught sight of the figure he had both missed and feared, Jacob, approaching in a cautious gait, his face etched with uncertainty. In that sacred moment, time stood still. Esau's heart raced, pounding with all the memories of their life, intertwined laughter shared over meals, fights in their youth, and the deep bond of fraternal love. And yet, twisted in that very moment was the betrayal of the past, a birthright stolen, a blessing bartered. Unbidden, instinct took hold, and as he saw Jacob, Esau stepped forward, arms wide. "Jacob!" he cried. With a heart full of both trepidation and love, he bore the burden of their past upon his shoulders, ready to cast it into the sea of forgiveness. Jacob too, moved by a wave of emotion, dropped to his knees, for the voices of shame and anger had given way to tears of contrition. "Esau!" he gasped, for in this reunion lay more than reconciliation, it was the drawing together of their destinies, forged through divine orchestration. Amid stifled breaths and fresh tears, the brothers met. Esau embraced Jacob with every fiber of his being, and Jacob returned the embrace with a fear turned to joy. Their hearts beat in unison, softening as walls of separation crumbled beneath the weight of love forged anew. For as they held one another, they began to understand, amid the chaos of their past, that this holy moment transcended their individual journeys. It was a divine movement linked to the very heart of God's sovereign plan. But still, unbeknownst to them, the hand of destiny wove through their encounter with stitches of grace, preparing to unveil not just a fragile piece, but a legacy that would ripple through generations, binding them forever within the tapestry of the Almighty's unfathomable and redemptive purpose. As the embrace lingered, the air thickened with unspoken words and the weight of shared history. The sun shone brightly upon the brothers, casting long shadows across the earth, illuminating their path toward reconciliation. With hearts unburdened but minds still grappling with the aftermath of the past, they drew apart, gazing into each other's eyes, a reflection of their struggles and hopes. "Brother," Esau said, voice trembling with emotion, "I feared you would cast me away, deemed unworthy of your forgiveness. Yet here you stand, and I see not just a brother, I see my own flesh. How can I ever repay you for the grace you have shown today?" Jacob, wiping away the tears that adorned his cheeks, replied with a voice full of conviction, "It is not your repayment I seek, Esau, but the restoration of our bond. The Lord has been merciful to us, let us not look back, but forward into his promise." A silence hung between them, heavy yet pregnant with hope. In that moment of stillness, their eyes wandered across the expanse of the field surrounding them, where golden grains danced as if in praise of the Almighty. It was as if the very creation witnessed their reunion, a testament of divine mercy. Then Jacob, overflowing with gratitude, beckoned to Esau, "Let us journey together to my camp. I have much to share with you, not only of our past but of the new life I trust the Lord will unveil for us both." Esau nodded, a budding sense of peace blossoming within him. They turned and began to walk side by side, a powerful stride toward kinship renewed. Yet unbeknownst to them, the seeds of their reconciliation would bear more than fruit for them alone. Through their restoration, God was weaving a legacy that would resonate throughout generations. As they traversed the undulating terrain, memories flared brightly in their minds, their youth spent in playful rivalry, the laughter echoing in the valleys of their childhood home, and the heartache of their separation. With every shared story, every admission of pain and hope, the invisible thread of forgiveness tethered them ever more tightly together. Meanwhile, destiny's loom continued its work. Back in the tent, Rebekah, Jacob's mother, stirred, sensing a monumental shift in her family. She had lived in the shadow of her son Jacob's plight and a devotion toward her beloved Esau, yet both were wounded. Lifting her eyes, she prayed fervently, beseeching the Lord for insight. "O Lord," she uttered, "reveal to me thy will, for I yearn to understand the ways in which our family is to be restored." Little did she know that the reunion of her sons would be part of a larger tapestry, threads entwining beyond the present hurt, extending into the divine purpose of the generations to follow. As Esau and Jacob reached the summit overlooking the valley of their father Isaac, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting apricot hues all around. It was here, at this sacred precipice, that they paused. The wind rustled through the trees, perhaps as a whisper from God, sealing the moment with a promise of abundant blessings to come. In that instant, Esau looked at Jacob, eyes reflecting understanding and acceptance. Let us not only be brothers reconciled but also men who bear witness to the goodness of God. For through our bond, our story will echo in times to come, and generations will know the depth of His mercy. And thus, in that pivotal moment of surrender and recognition, the brothers stepped fully into their divine calling, not merely as brothers but as vessels through which God would unfold His sovereign plan, one that towers over time, anchoring hope eternal. What began in strife was now forged into a legacy of redemption, one that promised to shine brightly against the backdrop of their ancestral history, propelling them toward a future filled with divine potential. Yet, as they stood on the verge of a new beginning, the Almighty's hand rested upon them, poised to unveil greater mysteries. For in the heart of their reconciliation lay an echo of a promise yet unfulfilled, a promise that awaited the faithful. Embrace of destiny woven through the ages, leading not just to reconciliation but to the very fulfillment of God's covenant. As the brothers journeyed toward Jacob's camp, the warm evening air enveloped them like a familiar embrace, stirring memories of their shared youth. Esau, with his robust frame reflecting the strength of a warrior, turned to Jacob, his brow furrowed in deep thought. "Tell me, brother," he began, his voice steady yet solemn, "have you truly found peace? The years were long and my heart grew weary in our separation." Jacob, eyes brightened by the glimmers of a new dawn, nodded. "Indeed, Esau, the Lord has led me through trials that have shaped my spirit. I have held fast to His promises, and it is through grace that I stand before you now, no longer burdened by fear or regret." The depth of Jacob's words echoed through the quiet of dusk, stirring something profound within Esau's heart. As they approached the tents, the laughter and chatter of Jacob's family played in the distance like the gentle notes of a melodious song. With each step, the weight of past grievances began to lift, and in its place blossomed a sense of renewed purpose, weaving their destinies together once more. In the tent, Rebekah sensed an extraordinary shift, the divine current coursing through her household. She had prepared a feast, driven by an uncontainable joy, yet within her, a gentle longing stirred. "Lord," she prayed softly, "open my eyes to see what wonders you are unfolding. Let my heart accept whatever you bring, for I trust in thy greater design." As night fell and stars adorned the heavens, Jacob and Esau entered the tent, the aroma of roasted lamb surrounding them. There, the warmth of family embraced them, a tapestry of laughter, tears, and the tentative joy of reconciliation. The children rushed forward, tearing through the air like arrows of affection, reminding them each of the solace and strength found in unity. "Come, brother," Jacob said, gesturing to a place of honor by the hearth. "The best of what I have is laid before you. Eat and let our hearts delight in the gift of this moment." Esau, overwhelmed with gratitude, replied, "Truly, how abundant is this grace we drink from! How can I ever repay?" The answer dawned upon Jacob like the light of a new day. "Let us create a legacy of faith, dear brother, for God's mercy is not meant to be cast aside. From our story, let all who follow know the might of His forgiveness." As the brothers feasted, amidst the joy and camaraderie, the evening air shifted. A gentle breeze wound its way through the tent, carrying whispered secrets of divine intention. Rebekah, observing from a distance, felt an unshakable tug upon her spirit. She turned, her heart racing, believing she might hear God's voice through this harmonious gathering. Yet, as the meal progressed and joy filled the air, a shadow passed through the doorway. Silence fell, broken only by the crackling of the fire. A woman entered, her presence commanding yet radiating warmth, a figure long forgotten yet intrinsically woven into Esau's life. "Is this not the camp of Jacob, son of Isaac?" she proclaimed, her eyes flickering like embers. "For I have journeyed far, guided by the whispers of the Almighty, to bring what you thought lost." Esau's face paled, memories igniting with fervor. "What do you mean?" he gasped, horror and hope intertwining. But her words hung suspended, cloaked in divine mystery. "For God has ordained a new chapter, a transformation in your family that none can foresee." Rebekah, sensing an impending revelation, trembled with both dread and anticipation. In that sacred moment, the air thickened, gathering the stories of the past into a single breath of divine destiny. What unknown future was God preparing? For in the heart of this reunion, ancient prophecies lingered, waiting to unfold. His sovereign plan was far from finished, leading them into depth yet to be revealed. The woman stepped further into the tent, her silhouette softening against the flickering firelight. The air grew heavy with expectation, as the assembly seemed to hold its breath. Esau, staring deeply into her familiar countenance, felt a torrent of memories surge forth, a time when laughter had flowed freely and the simplicity of life bore no scars of betrayal. "Is it you, my beloved?" he whispered, his voice a mixture of disbelief and longing. "Yes, Esau. I am Leah, daughter of Laban," she replied, her eyes shimmering like stars reflecting the night sky. "I have wandered the earth in search of you, for I was taken from the land of your birth. The hand of the Lord guided my heart back to you." Jacob's heart raced as he watched the emotions play across Esau's face. Joy, confusion, and perhaps a hint of fear danced together in that fleeting moment. "But how is it you come now, after all these years?" Jacob asked, curiosity intertwining with concern. "I have lived among the strangers, yet never has my heart ceased to tether itself to you, Esau. I bore your children, though we were separated by the will of men. Their eyes have searched the hills for their father," Leah answered, her voice steeped in grace like a cup overflowing with water. Esau dropped to his knees, surrendering to the weight of her words. Could it truly be? Have you returned to restore what was lost? In this moment of vulnerability, Esau's spirit seemed to wrestle with distant pain and the prospect of redemption. The past stirred heavily, yet a glimmer of hope broke through the veil. Rebekah, whose gaze fell upon Esau's weeping form, felt her heart quicken. The unfolding of this revelation gripped her with a mixture of elation and fear. Could this unforeseen return lead to a rupture in the fragile peace they sought to nurture? "Lord, what does this mean for our family?" She prayed silently, the words hanging in her heart. As Esau grasped his beloved's hands, a surge of power rippled through the room, threatening to sweep away all doubt. "Let the past remain," he declared, raising Leah from the ground. "Our God is a God of new beginnings and reconciliation. These hands shall not raise sword nor spear against my brother." At the declaration, there was a flicker of divine light among the shadows, casting long shapes upon the tent walls. The children, sensing the sacredness of this moment, fell silent. They gazed upon their father and the woman etched into their stories but absent from their lives. "The promise of our forefathers includes you, Leah," Jacob pronounced, his heart kindling with a burgeoning realization. "As the Lord spoke to our grandfather Abraham, he promised that through him all the nations would be blessed. You carry this blessing, the children of my brother." Leah bowed her head, tears cascading like rain from her sorrow-laden spirit, now knitted into the fabric of their family. With each tear shed, a weight lifted, leaving behind echoes of heaven's whispers, affirming that life blossomed anew in God's sovereign plan. Yet, in the midst of their joy, a sense of somber urgency arose. A voice indiscernible yet stirring echoed within Rebekah's spirit, reminding her of the greater truths that were yet to be unveiled. "For there is more that God desires to accomplish through you," she sensed within her, the divine mysteries still cloaked in shadows. The air thickened as they sat together, the warmth of reunion mingling with the promise of what was to come. In their hearts, they could feel the stirring of the Holy Spirit, affirming that God was an architect of stories and destinies, weaving them according to his holy will. And so, the family gathered closely, heartstrings taut with anticipation. "But what, O Lord," they pondered in unison, "is your ultimate design for us?" For indeed, they stood on the precipice of revelation, and the dawn of a new chapter loomed over them, both wondrous and terrifying, whispering of a divine purpose echoing through generations yet to unfold. As the intensity in the tent hung thick like clouds before the storm, Esau and Leah came together, their hands clasped in a manner that spoke more than words could convey. Love carved deep in the valleys of their hearts began to mingle with the truth of God's plan, an unbroken connection resurrecting hope from the ashes of the past. Jacob, witnessing this tender unison, raised his voice above the stillness. Let us not linger in the shadows of despair, for the Lord has revealed a new dawn. We are to increase and multiply, for the promises of God extend to the nations. His voice rang with clarity, igniting the hearts of all those present. The children, whose faces glimmered with curiosity and wonder, began to encircle their parents and Leah, leaving behind the burdens of their forefathers' wrongs. Who are we now, if not a tribe blessed by God? One of the youngest dared to ask, eyes wide with possibility. Esau's heart swelled with paternal tenderness as he gazed at his children, each one a testament to the divine narrative woven through their lineage. We remain children of the covenant, he declared. The Lord has not forgotten us. Each promise spoken over our line carries the weight of heaven's glory. In that sacred space, Leah, feeling the warmth of family wrap around her like a cloak, raised her voice, trembling yet resolute. Though years have passed, there is much within me that echoes your truths. My children bear the mark of our union and the covenant of our God. They shall know their people, they shall know their God. At this, tears flowed freely among the gathered, and the tent became a sanctuary ringing with praise. Jacob took a steadying breath, pondering the implications of what had just transpired. The Lord has beckoned us into the light, yet I sense a deeper work awaits. For if we have been brought together, what will we do with this newfound bond? The air trembled as the spirit of divine anticipation enveloped them. It was as if the very breath of God steeped the moment in sacred revelation. Let us seek his face, Esau said, kneeling before the trembling flame. For in the seeking lies the promise of finding. Our hearts must be laid bare before the Lord. Rebekah, ever in tune with the divine whispers, knelt alongside Esau, her spirit stirred. We must be vigilant. What if these unforeseen circumstances hold keys to something greater, something yet to unfold? She looked into the eyes of each member of her family, courage flickering in her gaze. Their voices mingled in unified prayer, beseeching God for guidance. Lord, lead us, they cried out, for we are but instruments in your hands. Unveil your intent for our lives, and we shall walk in faith as a family renewed. In the stillness that enveloped them, a profound silence reigned, as if the world held its breath with reverence. The flickering flame seemed to pulse with life, illuminating the pathways of their hearts. Each mind bent on divine expectancy, lingering on the promises spoken over their forefathers. Amidst this sacred gathering, a voice gentle yet resounding echoed in the depths of Rebekah's spirit. Do you perceive the unfolding? For the very fabric of destiny is woven with your choices. My hand shall shape your lineage to reveal a truth you cannot yet see. With each heartbeat, the weight of the moment deepened, and they knew that they had been brought together for a purpose beyond their understanding. From that moment, a sacred stir began, heralding the unfolding of God's greater design. As a fresh wind flowed through the tent, it whispered mysteries, urging them onward. The dawn of understanding hung heavy in the air yet tantalizingly out of reach. For great will be the revelations that await. Rebekah's heart danced with glimpses of the overarching divine narrative, her soul alight with anticipation. But how will our legacy intertwine with the will of the Almighty? What does he desire to reveal through us? And thus, beneath the stars, the family began a journey into the unknown, standing at the threshold of God's unfolding tapestry, each breath a step toward an incredible destiny yet to be seen. As dawn broke over the horizon, a golden hue painted the sky, mirroring the newfound hope that nestled within the hearts of the family. The air was charged with an expectant peace, and they gathered again, this time outside the tent, their faces turned towards the heavens. Esau's countenance bore the light of a man transformed, his spirit renewed with purpose, while Jacob stood firm, his eyes scanning the heavens as if seeking the very face of God. Children, Jacob began, his voice steady and solemn, today we rise as a people transformed. No longer shall we be known as the sons of Isaac alone, but as a tribe under the hand of the Almighty. He gestured towards Esau and Leah, who stood together, emboldened by the gravity of their covenant bond. For the Lord has joined us back into one family, reclaiming what was lost and shattered. And what shall we do now? A bold voice came from one of the children, a son of Rebekah. What is our purpose? The question hung in the air, heavy yet filled with promise. Esau knelt low upon the earth, drawing from it the strength of their ancestors, and spoke with fervor. We shall not seek merely for ourselves, but for the glory of our God. We will build altars in his name, and spread the truths of his love across the lands. The world shall know our God, for he is a God of restoration. His words fell like rain, nourishing hope in the hearts of all who listened. Leah, caught in the tide of fervent passion, felt the Spirit welling up within her. Shall we not also teach our children the songs of our forefathers? Let us remind them of the deeds done by the Lord on our behalf, that they too may sing of his faithfulness. Her heart beat loudly as she envisioned the gatherings around fires, stories retold, and histories reclaimed by their lineage. Jacob smiled upon his wives, amazed at their unity. It is true, he agreed, and I sense that our journey will take us beyond these familiar valleys. We must venture forth to the land of our forebears, to the valleys of Shechem and beyond, for there lies our heritage. Thus the family drew their plans, the dawn forging a sacred resolve among them. They would journey, but not without the protection of their covenant with God. They gathered in a circle, hands joined, and began to pray once more, their voices merging in humble supplication, seeking divine guidance for their endeavor. Father, lead us to the places that await, Esau intoned, and grant us favor among the peoples we shall encounter. Suddenly, the gentle rustling of the wind transformed into a mighty whisper that filled their ears. Fear not, for I am with you. I shall go before you and prepare the way. It was as if the heavens themselves were affirming their steps. Each heart quickened, awash with peace even amid uncertainty. As the murmurs of anticipation swelled in the hearts of the gathered, Rebekah felt a stirring deep within her soul. But, she voiced softly, capturing the attention of all, what if our journey will bring trials we cannot foresee? What if the way before us is fraught with challenges? Esau met her gaze, his expression earnest. Even so, it is written that through trials our faith is refined. The Lord has spoken of great things, and our very journey will testify to his power. We must embrace all that comes, knowing he works all for good. With a newfound resolve, they began their preparations for the journey ahead, every action a step into the divine unknown, propelled by the promises laid before them. As the sun ascended higher, illuminating their way, a question echoed back, for as their footsteps carried them into the horizon, what future lay ahead for a family reborn bound by covenant and grace yet poised at the precipice of uncharted destinies? What greater plans did God hold for their lineage, a tale woven with threads of trials and triumphs waiting to unfold? As they commenced their journey, Jacob felt the weight of the road upon him, yet a flicker of divine assurance guided each step. The mountains loomed on the horizon, echoes of untold stories emanating from their ancient heights. A sense of urgency stirred in Jacob's spirit, sensing that they were not merely traveling through lands but entering spaces of prophecy fulfilled. As the sun arced across the sky, bathing the family in warmth, Leah paused, turning to her husband. Esau, tell us the story of our father Isaac, for it is a tale of promise that we must carry in our hearts. With the wind dancing in the trees, Esau began to speak. Isaac, our father, waited many years for the Lord's blessing. He was a child of promise born to Abraham and Sarah. It was promised that through his lineage, all nations would be blessed. His voice resonated with fervor. God provided the ram in the thicket, providing salvation in the moment of need. This is a testimony of his faithful provision. Rebekah, walking not far behind, listened intently, her heart swelling as she remembered the covenant of Abraham. Indeed, the Lord saw their need and responded. And he shall respond to us as well, she murmured, recalling the moment she had been called. Yet, a trepidation lingered. What trials loomed ahead? The family traveled through valleys lush with greenery and among hills that seemed to touch the sky. Each evening, they encamped beneath the stars, creating a sanctuary of worship, building altars of stones gathered from the surrounding earth, consecrating their steps to the Most High. On one such night, as the fire crackled and the sky shimmered with countless stars, Jacob felt a tug deep within him. Rising, he walked a distance from the camp, seeking the face of God in the veil of night. Kneeling upon the ground, the weight of his ancestry bore down upon him, and he sought wisdom for his family, for their destiny was intertwined with the very words of prophecy spoken from ages past. Lord of hosts, he prayed, you called me Israel, you who wrestles with man and God. Guide us, for we walk into the unknown with only your promises borne upon our hearts. Let not fear hold us, for you are our deliverance. As Jacob wrestled in prayer, a stillness enveloped him, and he felt a breath of wind, like the tender voice of God whispering to his soul. I shall reveal my purpose through you, through each struggle and triumph. In peace yet uncertainty, Jacob returned to the gathered clan. Children, this journey shall bear fruit, not just for us, but for generations to come. Prepare your hearts for the miraculous. As they continued, a strange encounter awaited them on the morrow. Upon reaching a spring in the land of Shechem, they were drawn to a gathering of people, a mercantile town bustling with voices unknown. It was among these tradesmen that they would meet Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whose heart was burdened with questions of her own. Leah sensed this new chapter unfolding and whispered to Jacob, the Lord opens doors we cannot foresee. Let us proceed with wisdom. And so they drew near, not knowing what lay in wait. For in those conversations to come, a hidden thread of divine transformation would soon weave through their lives, stirring the hearts of many and igniting a deeper understanding of God's plans. For what lay behind the veil of the dawn was a revelation yet unwritten, awaiting those willing to trust in the unfolding tapestry of God's design. A journey that would uncover the forgotten stories of grace, a path of healing meant not for them alone, but for nations yet unborn. As the sun rose radiant over the horizon, the warmth spilled into the valley, blessing the gathered family with a golden hue of promise. Esau, Jacob, and their families stood united, their hearts intertwined by the miraculous journey set before them, a testament to God's unwavering grace. Their eyes, however, were turned upon a new horizon, one laden with the weight of anticipation, currents of change still rippling beneath the surface. The air thrummed with energy as they made their way into the town of Shechem. It was a bustling hub where merchants exchanged goods and lives intertwined, each face reflecting stories yet untold. With every step, they sensed the Lord guiding them toward divine encounters designed to reshape the world not only for themselves but for generations to come. Jacob, emboldened by the promises spoken to him, turned to Esau. This place holds potential. Our journey will not go unseen, the Lord has set purpose in our path. They approached a well where the townsfolk gathered, water stirring with the discussions of life, hope, and dreams. There they beheld Dinah, the daughter of Leah, radiant yet burdened, her heart aching for identity beyond her lineage. Will you speak with her? Leah asked, sensing the heavy veil that separated Dinah from her own divine inheritance. There's weight in her heart, and she carries questions that only our shared truths can mend. As they approached Dinah, Jacob's voice rang soft yet profound, daughter of Leah, we are newcomers here, yet your spirit draws us near. What troubles your heart? Her eyes glanced upward, reflecting a longing for purpose. I am torn, for my name binds me to my father's legacy, yet I seek to understand my own place in this weaving of history. Who am I in the eyes of the God of my ancestors? Esau took a step closer, his heart tender with empathy. Beloved sister, your identity travels beyond the legacy of those who walked before you. You carry within you the promise of our family, a promise that the Almighty shall bless the nations through us. Let not the questions bind you, but let them propel you toward discovery. The word struck a chord within Dinah, awakening a flicker of hope. Can one such as I really be part of this story of grace? She pondered, tears brimming in her eyes. Jacob replied with conviction, yes. For God does not call the worthy, but transforms the willing. You are invited to share in this great legacy, a tapestry where your threads of existence fulfill His divine mandate. With those empowering words, their connection deepened with Dinah. She felt seen, embraced not just by Esau and Jacob but by God's greater promise wrapped around her. The realization of her importance within the family ignited a fire within her heart. As conversations flowed, the onlookers sensed the warmth emanating from this exchanged truth. A fascination began to draw them closer. "What is this message you speak?" an elder asked, his brow knitted in curiosity. Jacob met his gaze with confidence. "We speak of covenant, a living promise without end, a guiding framework through the heartaches and victories that shape us. The God who walked with our forefathers still walks with us today, calling all to experience His abundant grace." The elder, intrigued, invited them to speak further as the crowd gathered. The family, now a collective voice for the Almighty, began to share their testimonies, stories of struggle, reconciliation, and divine love. With every shared tale, the atmosphere thickened with spirit, hearts exchanging burdens for hope, shadows of the past yielding to light. Days turned into weeks, the family becoming intertwined with the townsfolk, roots growing deeper, promises spoken and reclaimed. They built altars to commemorate the miracles, their faith serving as a foundation, binding them closer to the unfolding design of God. But deep within, Rebekah sensed an urgency, a whispering from the Almighty that something greater awaited. "Our journey is not merely for ourselves," she declared, gathered around the campfire one evening. "God is orchestrating a symphony. And we must remain attentive to His guidance." As the family listened, they sensed the stirring of providence that had woven through their lives from the beginning. They were to testify beyond their walls, igniting faith like a flame in the darkness, God's love not limited to their lineage but reaching out to all who would dare embrace it. Dinah, now bold and inspired, wove her voice into the fabric of their mission, taking the message to the hearts of other women in the town. "You too have a place in this legacy. Let us gather and revel in the truth that our God is choiceless in His love, extending His arms to welcome us into the fold." Soon, the sound of laughter and worship echoed throughout, lifting heavenward, the smell of sacrifice rising like fragrant incense. Families came together, united in the beautiful exchange of grace, finding salvation resting in the arms of covenant love. As joy rippled through Shechem, word of the family's influence spread far and wide, hearts turning toward truth and redemption. Esau and Jacob looked upon their family's impact with joy unspeakable, recognizing how the Almighty had extended beyond their intentions greater than they could have ever foreseen. In that moment, as dusk fell, the heavens opened wide, granting a glimpse of what awaited an eternity threaded among their descendants, a legacy that would shine brighter than stars. And thus, with their hearts set ablaze for God's purpose, they moved forward as beacons in a world yearning for hope, forever bound in the rhythm of divine destiny fulfilled. As you reflect on these powerful moments, don't miss the next journey God has for you. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word and witness miraculous truths unfolding. Leave a like now to help spread God's Word through the algorithm, reaching souls who need hope today. Comment your spiritual reflections and tell us how this biblical story impacted your faith. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. Don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony. The time to touch a heart with God's love is now.